All right, folks, and we happen to have Morgan Zegers here with us today. Again, she's the founder and CEO of Young Americans Against Socialism. But Morgan, when I was looking at your background, it's so interesting because hardly anyone in the country actually gets up the nerve to run for office. And you did it at such a young age. And I'm just interested, what was that experience like and what possessed you to run?
Yeah, well, I'm from upstate New York, and I'm really proud of that. It's a very rural Republican area. And when you have a governor like Governor Cuomo, who is rampant with corruption, his administration is seeping in pay to play, and we are the highest state and local taxed state in the country. We have the highest the highest salt tax that you can think of, and then we also are the most corrupt state in the country. We have the worst business regulations in the country. We really rank highest in all the worst categories, and so that really inspired me to step up. I don't believe in just climbing the political ladder and running for school board and then local seat and then state assembly and then Congress one day, and a lot of people do. And so when I ran
Right.
for state assembly, because I specifically care about state level issues, a lot of people thought it was a breath of fresh air.
hmm Well, yeah, I found it a breath of fresh air, and I wish you luck when you do it again. And now or if you do it again, I'm not sure how good the experience was, but I want to talk about this organization because when I was your age, it was just an interesting time, not only in the country, but in the world. I mean, the Soviet Union was collapsing, Germany was reunifying, and you had hundreds and thousands of people taking to the streets in these different countries, waving their country's flag, waving American flags, because they had rejected tyranny and socialism and communism and wanted American freedom. So the last thing that I would have thought that we needed was Young Americans Against Socialism. But now, 30 years later, here we are, and we have it. And I just wanted to give the audience a perspective of what is going on in society and colleges and universities that makes us have this need.
Yeah. Well, when I was in college, I went to American University and I loved the name. I thought it was going to be so patriotic going to Washington, D.C., the nation's capital for my higher education. And when I got there, I realized it was 90% liberal and it was the number one most politically active campus in the country. So I knew there was going to be some leftist bias, and I figured that's okay. I'm really strongly rooted in my values, and I believe in freedom and opportunity, and I'm not going to falter on that, so it's fine. But I experienced some crazy stuff in the classroom, but one of the most weirdest experiences, and I'm really thankful for it, is I lived with a communist in my last year of
Oh,
college.
wow.
And so I moved off campus my last year into a house, and I knew some of the girls, but I didn't know some of the others. So when I moved in, I went and introduced myself. And I walk into this girl's room and she's blonde hair, blue eyes, she's beautiful, huge smile, so friendly and nice. Like it reminded me of like a Bruce Springsteen's, she looks like she could be right out of a Bruce Springsteen music video.
Right.
And I'm talking to her and I look on her wall and there is a poster of some guys and I recognize them from the history textbooks. And it's literally Mao Zedong, Stalin, Lenin, Fidel Castro, and Karl Marx. And it says, "Welcome to the party."
Oh, my
So
gosh.
I look at her and I'm like, what's that? And I'm pretty sure I said something a little rougher than that. But I was like, what's that? And she said, oh, I'm a communist. And
Oh, my
the
gosh.
joy on her face was just shocking to me. And I love history. I'm really, really loved watching all the History Channel shows with my dad when I was growing up. He's a colonel in the U.S. military.
hmm
And so I spent the year talking to her and learning where she got her values. And the scariest thing and what gave me the inspiration to start Young Americans Against Socialism was the fact that my roommate was so kind and so caring, and she cared about me and her friends and her family and her country. And like a lot of people in my generation, we have social media accounts, and that allows us to see the world in our little screen and
hmm
be in tune and in touch with the issues of the day. So my roommate saw that there were things going on in America that weren't the best. We have our flaws, but the
hmm
problem is that I saw those flaws too. I want to fix them, of course. I want to fix them with Republicans and Democrats together. But my roommate saw those problems and truly, deep down in her heart, believed that socialism and communism and ideas rooted in Marxism and that idea of they have something I don't have, I'm going to use the government force to take it. That's what she thought was going to best help everybody, even though it's failed every single time in our history. How
Oh,
does
my
that
gosh.
happen?
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And so are these students, are they coming in with these views already, or is it the professors and instructors that are they're hammering it, or combination?
Unfortunately, I would love to have one reason for why this is such a problem because my roommate's not alone. In fact, a majority of young Americans would now choose socialism over capitalism for the future
Yeah.
of America. And that is insane to me. It
Hmm.
means the future of the United States is at risk. That's what it means. And I hate to say that because I wish that we weren't facing this problem and I wish I didn't have to start this nonprofit, but we do. It's
Hmm.
drastic. It's urgent. So it is a problem. A lot of people blame participation trophies. I remember being in middle school, like in the recreation soccer field, and the parents on the sidelines would joke, "What's going to happen to these kids when they grow up and they're so used to getting medals for losing?" I think that's a major part of it because now we know they grew up and they became socialists. What happened to us? Now we're socialists. So I think there is major correlation there. But I think in high school, it's not that, I'm not going to say the socialists have taken over our education system and they're secretly planning to teach our kids that socialism is good. I think it's just a lack of education and a lack of focus on the
Hmm.
failures of socialism and throughout history. I think we spend a huge amount of time in our US history classes talking about World War II, which is due. It's justified. But we also need to talk about how millions of people died under socialism. And I
Hmm.
don't think enough time in the classroom was spent on that. So Young Americans Against Socialism is trying to right that wrong. We're not here to blame the teachers. We're not here to blame anybody. We're not here to tell my generation, you guys are wrong. You need to be thinking a different way. We're here to enlighten people, enlighten my generation to embrace freedom because young people are supposed to be rebellious in their love for freedom. They're supposed to fight for like they're fighting against the man. And then my generation turned around and is like begging the man to take over their lives. So it's
Right.
shocking.
Yeah. It's
They're
a
like,
complete
please take
flip.
control. It's
Yeah,
shock.
exactly. So, okay, so what, talk about a little bit about the founding of this organization, and what you guys are doing, and how people can help. Let us know a little bit about that.
Yeah, so you mentioned I ran for state assembly, and
Hmm.
I credit this one moment to when I said, that's it. I need to do something about it. In 2018, I had my communist roommate. That was a big shock to me. I experienced on campus my communist roommate being treated just as normally as I was, or even better than I was because I was a conservative. I got
Hmm.
more questions for being a conservative on campus than she got for being a communist with a poster of mass murderers and dictators on her wall. So I saw that frustration and I said, I need to do something. But when I ran for state assembly, I did a local newspaper's endorsement process and I sat down with them for an interview. And the local editor said, Morgan, you've said before you hate socialism. Isn't your father a colonel in the military? Doesn't that mean you're on socialist health care? And that was the biggest slap in the face
Oh,
I've had
wow.
in a while. I mean,
Hmm.
comparing my father's service both in 9/11 and Operation Iraqi Freedom and the benefits that he gets and that soldiers get for putting their lives on the line to socialized economic health care where the government controls your life from cradle to coffin. No. And
Right.
at the same time, the poll came out from Gallup about the 2018 officially. That's now where my generation would choose socialism over capitalism. So it was a combination of all my experiences, and I said I need to do something about it.
Hmm.
But we launched YAAS and we said, how do we enlighten my generation? How do we get them this information? And we found out that 90% of my generation, young Americans, have a social media account. And this is crazy. They spend 5 hours a day on average
Oh,
scrolling
wow.
through their phone, like just going whoop, 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 consuming content, whether that's short videos or tweets or whatever. And so we said, let's just put the information where they are. Let's
Hmm.
bring them the information instead of making them seek it out or hoping that they come to our page or hoping that they watch our DVD video. So we created a social media organization, and what's so great about that is it allows us to be lean and mean. So every donation that we get just allows us to make more short videos, to travel the country and interview people who have escaped socialism because they tell their personal story to our camera. The stories are so emotional and powerful, and really there's so many lessons for my generation to learn from these personal experiences. And then social media advertising is so effective and efficient. It allows us to be seen by literally millions of people. And it's insane, but we've already had millions and millions of views. I think we're up to 15 million at this point. We've launched 1 week ago. So we're
Wow.
excited to see the impact that we can have on the way my generation views socialism.
Right. I have kids your age, so
Yeah.
I can attest to how often they're on social
Lots of
media.
phone time.
Right, but it's a great program. So if people want to check out these different platforms, what's the handle or the website? How can they get in touch with you?
Yep. So on social media, we're Young Americans Against Socialism. And then on YouTube, we have our channel with all of our videos. We also have a website if anyone's interested in financially supporting the creation of these videos and the push out of these videos to younger Americans' phone screens across the country. So our website is yaas.org, and that has all of our or all of our videos too.
That's awesome. And I'm going to definitely put a link in the description, folks. Anything you need on this organization, you can find it in my description. And Morgan, I want to wrap up real quick with the flags. Okay. I
Yeah.
want to see how you got into making these flags and talk a little bit about, because this is like the business side of you. And I
Yeah.
just want to get a little bit of background on that because I find it really interesting.
Well, Zegers Freedom Flags is my pride and joy. A year ago, or maybe more than a year ago now, my dad and I saw a YouTube tutorial from a woodworker. We have a lot of tools in the workshop, and he taught you on the YouTube channel how to make a wooden American flag. So we were like, well, okay, let's go to Home Depot and grab some wood. And we tried it out. It was just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. When I finally did the stars, I carved them by hand with a Dremel, all 50. So it took hours. And then when it was finally done, we were like, we can't just like put this on our wall. This has to be seen by so many other people. So we started donating them to local VFWs. To charities and stuff. And then that helped us get the word out and then helped us find our first customers. And so now we sell them across the country. And my dad, my brother, my family, we all get involved whenever there's like a big painting project or whenever we have a big order. And it's just, I'm so thankful for it. And it's really awesome to know that people are hanging up the work that we do on their wall and they're so proud. It's a way for them to show pride in their country. And I love it so much.
Wow, that is awesome, and we're going to put links to that as well. But
Thank
Morgan,
you.
I wish you the best of luck, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.